Dakota land where the skies are wide and the freedom stands. With a Bible in my hand and a prayer in my heart, living this life where the wild plays its part. Dust on my boots and my hat pulled low, got my trusty rifle and I'm ready to go. Hunting the game as the sun hits the sky in the heart of the 701. I feel so alive. Guns and the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold. The line of the legacy that runs through our veins in this wild, wild land where the spirit remains. We're living free, living bold, side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. Ranching the fields, the cattle run free with a purpose so strong, it's our grand legacy. The rivers run deep as we cast out our lines, fishing the waters where the North Star shines. Got the warmth of the sun with the chill of the night. With every shot fired, we're ready to fight for the freedom we cherish. The second is true. With family beside us, we stand through and through. Guns in the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold. The line of the legacy that runs through our veins in this wild, wild land where the spirit remains. We're living free, living bold, side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. In a world that's spinning with sins that they wield, we stick to our values. Our fate is revealed with the word as our guide. We tread on the earth, a community built from the love, not the curse. Raising our voices, singing loud through the night, for God and our freedom, we'll continue the fight. Let the rifles ring out, let the spirits align. In North Dakota's embrace, our souls intertwine. So when you hear the gunshots and feel that proud sound, know it's faith and freedom that echoes around. From the fields of the ranch to the depths of the lake, with God on our side, there's nothing at stake. Guns and the 71 forever will stand in the heart of our faith in this great free
All righty. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Guns of the 701. This is episode 171. It's amazing. Come August here, it's going to be 3 years, I believe, is when we're going to be. Dennis Payne, good evening. Eric Newman. Hey, of course, you know, Eric's always, as he always says, from the better part of the Dakotas to Leon and a little Pendleton on the bullhorn tonight, he says. Blackbeard Logic, good to have you in there. Good evening to everybody who's joining. Brian, Tom, good to have you from over on that west or on the eastern side of North Dakota. So before we get rolling, hey Keith, good to see you too. Nate Brown's going to be joining us tonight, but I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do a prayer, and then I do the Second Amendment. So, Heavenly Father, we thank you for the beautiful weather you have sent to all of us. Even the snow, I know some don't like it, but we do need that moisture to make those crops and that grass grow all the year pleasing. Please watch over our men and women as they serve this country proudly and keep them out of harm's way while defending our country and also delighting in your word, taking each and every step. Thank you, Lord, for everything that you have blessed us. We want you to know that everything we have is yours and we give it up to you. In the name we pray. Amen. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw up the Second Amendment for all you who don't know it. The well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, this, as our governor says, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. And I think we see that play out more and more. I can't believe the gun news I've been seeing here lately. It's utterly amazing to me as to what I'm seeing. Hey, DJ down there in Rapid City, I'm hoping to see you this weekend as I head out. So got a few announcements before we bring Nate on board. We have GAT701 is going to be moving to Thursday nights starting February 19th through March 26th. And this is the Observe the Lent season here before Easter. Did this last year as well. That gives me an opportunity to attend those services. So, again, mark your calendars. We move to Thursday, February 19th through March 26th, and then we will return once again back to our Wednesday night. It'll be the same time, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central. Again, February 19th through March 26th, we will be Thursday nights with GAT701. Friday, I won't be doing the Mitchell in the Morning Show. Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic. You're going to get a double dose of Leon, which, hey, I mean, come on. It's Leon. I think you'll enjoy it. He's going to be filling in for me with Mitchell in the Morning, Todd Mitchell there at KFYR 550. 7:15 in the morning in the Mountain Time Zone, 8:15 Central. You're going to want to tune in because I'm sure Leon, from what I hear, he's going to be attending a little something out there, maybe doing live from there. So tune into that. Of course, Sunday is our Sunday Sportsman's Devotion. Pastor Vance Bishop hosts that 7 a.m. Mountain, 8 Central. He does a great job over there. I had a little technical difficulty last week, but I think he got that sorted out. And, of course, like I said, we'll be coming out here on Thursdays starting February 19th. All right. With that, it looks like I lost Nate, did I? Maybe not. Maybe I'll have to go check and see. But I want to see if I got Nate here. Hey, Kelly, good evening there. He's over in that Valley City area. I bet the ice is just right to be out there if ice fishing. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce. So as you all know, NRA has sued NRA Foundation. Has caused quite a ripple within the organization, including having several employees, and even I was shocked, some regional directors that were laid off. So I'm going to introduce Nate Brown. He's been with me before. I'm going to see if we can't bring Nate on. Can you hear me, Nate?
I can hear you just fine, but for some reason it says my camera, it says Nate's backstage. He has to allow you, but I don't know why it says enable camera, press V.
Well,
I even logged back in once. I don't know what happened.
I know before the show.
Anyway, Clay.
I know before the show we had you there, so I don't know.
I know.
You, Nate. It don't much matter. I mean, if we're
I'll keep playing with my camera settings while we're chit chatting.
Yeah, sounds great. So, Nate, of course, I was all excited when we had you on last time. I got to know the new field rep covering Western South Dakota and Wyoming, and things seemed really on the upside. And then the lawsuit.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's just it's one of those things that I have a long history of working in the oil and gas industry and other industries as well. And, Clay, it's just one of those things. Business comes down to finances. And right now, with the issue going on within the NRA, is the NRA as an organization has, in fact, sued the foundation. And so basically right now our checkbook is being held hostage. So yes. They literally cut the field operations staff in half right down the middle, and they've got it divided. You're an old field rep yourself, so you know all about this stuff. But literally, it's one of those deals where as you know, I took over kind of a graveyard. We haven't had a great field rep in the Dakotas since this guy named Clay Peterson.
Yeah. Well, appreciate that. But yeah, and it actually was very disappointing to me because we had a powerhouse in the Dakotas. We really did. And so getting back to what happened and this is what I kind of was told. I've been covering this. Basically, I had it on the radio. I've had it on the show once. We covered it again Monday on KFYR. But yeah, and I think this is how it was when I was there. I didn't really get into the nitty gritty, but essentially field staff are employees of the NRA, but half was paid out of the foundation, half was paid out of NRA. And when they split over the lawsuit, like you said, they essentially took the checkbook and said, sorry, and pulled money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, so for quite some time, what's been going on really recently is, the NRA Foundation has acted as a bank for the NRA as an organization. So as you know, all of us field staff are NRA employees, NRA trucks, all of the good things, So actually, in most recent years, what's been going on is they just wrote a grant to the foundation for support programs, one of which is the Friends of NRA program. So essentially, right now, as it stands, the NRA has not received that funding from the foundation.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of the board members that left on their own, there going to be 37 spots we're voting for, if I remember right, on that board of directors for NRA, the 501c4, which is a bunch of them left. And let's just face it, it's the guys that what I would call probably needed to leave. Problem is they didn't leave. They went over to the foundation board. So, and from that, we're seeing the same things that we were seeing on the actual board of directors, which is honestly what upset a lot of members. It truly did. And they got what they call NRA 2.0 is what they've labeled it, with the new guys coming in. And they've made, Hamlin and the crew have made some pretty resounding changes, haven't they?
They have. And this is part of that process. Obviously, you're talking to an unemployed field rep. This is how grave it was. I was on track to have 4 times the chartered committees that I took, that I had when I took the area over. So, and I still couldn't make I did everything in my power, wrote emails, everything you can imagine to try to salvage my job just because of the relationships that I built. And, it was just, it's a hard one to, hard one to swallow sometimes. The whole situation just really, really sucks. And what it really boiled down to, I think, is at the end of the day, they looked at the dollar signs. What South Dakota and Wyoming look like. How much money has been raised over the last couple of years, and they just had to make a really hard choice. Well,
that's kind of how I looked at it too, is what they probably did, because let's face it, since 2016, after I retired, numbers have not been great, and they pretty much after 2020 disappeared, at least in the Dakotas. I know Eric's been doing a pretty good job of trying to rebuild, but Eric's a long ways. He lives out there in Minnesota. That's a long ways to travel and try to cover North Dakota, especially on that western side. We're talking 1,000 miles possibly, because I know I was like 700 from up there in that far northwestern corner, which that's quite a trek all by itself. So I understand that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Dan, I know, is on here. I don't know if they were looking at getting another one going, but I know you and I had talked. I was looking forward to this because I thought, I'm going to be down there during stock show. We were going to try to get together. I know we were going to talk about some of this, and now it's kind of a moot point at the moment.
Yeah, it really, my hat's off to the guys that are trying to cover. You just made the point. You were talking about Eric Linder. Eric was already covering western North Dakota and all of North Dakota and Minnesota. Now he's tasked with trying to put something together from the pieces left in South Dakota, which I'm doing, which I'm under no obligation to do anything for the NRA. I mean, they laid me off. I don't have a job. There's nobody paying me, but I wrote an email to my committees, talked to all of my field rep, guys that are still in place, still trying to make something happen. And I'm doing literally everything that I know how to do to salvage anything that we can salvage from this program, because I believe in it so much. And, that's the whole deal. Is at the end of the day, the NRA is larger and bigger and greater than the sum of the people that are involved right now. So, we have to try to pull this together. I mean, we're in an election year. We can talk about politics now. I don't even work for the Friends program anymore. But, at the end of the day, we are literally in an election year. People have got to realize we are one election cycle away from losing our Second Amendment rights. That's really all it boils down to.
Absolutely. And, the Friends of NRA, even though it wasn't the political arm of the NRA, it still served that purpose for, yes, we're going to raise money. We were going to raise money for shooting sports. And I kind of like this, what I heard Hamlin say, we're going to restore the Friends program. They're going to take that money now, and that started, I believe, February 1st, and they were going to drop it into the other foundation. I mean, NRA has more than one foundational fund, I guess you'd say it. So I think that's going to not be an issue from February 1 on, which, as you and I both know, most of the banquets start end of January, beginning of February, and run their course through the year. So you'll see that revenue stream, return, because it's going to be a foundation that's actually answering now to NRA. But I like that they're going to try to return it back to, at the headquarters part of that 50%, shooting sports programs, education, competitive shootings, foremost front and center, from what I can tell, in this new board, along with the new executive vice president. And I can tell you from being out there, the competitions division wasn't much. There was a little office with 2 guys in it when I was out there. That ain't a whole lot of staff or support to run an entire United States nationwide competition division, is it?
No, and there's a lot of growth that's going to happen, and I think we'll be lucky in our lifetime to see the ramifications of really this upheaval within the NRA. But I'm an energy sector guy, so I like to refer back to the Enrons and the Exxons and all of the different things that have happened over the years. BP Amoco, British Petroleum, the spill in the Gulf, and all those things. Yes. Big companies have problems, and we can all relate back to that. If you think about churches, same thing. Churches have divisions. People get bigger than the position that they're in, and it's high time. We have the unique advantage, I believe, right now, the constituency of the NRA and the members that are taking this back. We have the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of being involved in really the cutting edge of the new 2.0 NRA. And I'm excited to still be a part of that, even though I'm kind of no longer right on the ground with, working for the Friends of NRA. I'm still actively involved. I'm on a committee right here in Riverton, Wyoming. I even volunteered, just so the people in South Dakota know I'm not making any promises, but I volunteered. I saw somebody on there said they saw me at Sturgis or met me at Sturgis, but I even volunteered to help Eric run a committee in the Rapid City region, Sturgis area. So, we may pull something together there,
And Doug, Doug Thompson, DJ, he was my chair down there for several years. Good friends with him, and they had a high caliber event. It was a fantastic event. I remember we rented the big room at that time. It was the Ram. I'm trying to remember the Ramcota. And we didn't really fill it, but I said we will. And within a few years, we had that thing full. And I mean, it was one of the premier events to go to, which was outstanding. DJ and his crew they worked relentlessly. And I mean, it's definitely doable. It definitely is. There is a definite place for a Friends of NRA event in Rapid City. And as far as that goes, sure. We used to have 3 of them. We had one up in the Deadwood area. We had one in Custer, and we had one in Rapid. So, we were pulling 3 banquets out of the Black Hills area. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and Clay, that was before, the whole COVID-19 influx of people. That whole area, you're looking at 250,000 people within a 100-mile radius of Rapid City in the Black Hills. So there's really, I envisioned when I took this job in April, and we were well on our way. I mean, I had some committees started, got folks involved, had a little event at Sturgis. Then we had our open house at the new shooting complex. I really envisioned having a monument event, at the monument at some point in time where, we had, basically the need for a very large space. And I think it'll happen. I really do. I'm excited to see some new faces taking over. And, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different moving parts. The people have always been the Friends of NRA program. And I think now with the new, you referred to the new 501c3 and the new EIN number, basically what we're doing right now and what's in place and why my job, went by the wayside for now is we're literally doing what has to happen is, somebody's tried to hold hostage the foundation and basically leverage some of the old guard and the cabal. And so has gotten involved on the foundation side. And so, at the end of the day, the NRA did the right thing. There is no NRA foundation without the National Rifle Association. So,
and there, you just nailed it. You just nailed it.
Yeah. There's no mechanism for the NRA Foundation to exist without the National Rifle Association. So,
without the banquets, there is no funding for the foundation. That was the funding. Yeah. I mean, that's that simple. I mean, as well as I do that all them dollars when we wrote the checks went to the NRA Foundation.
Absolutely.
So now,
and it's still sitting there and they don't dare touch it. That's another really strong point that I want to make. That's why this lawsuit exists, is because there's nobody that's going to take that $160 million plus that was raised through the Friends of NRA programs over many, many years. There's probably still money invested that Clay and you and your committees and that you made years ago. That's still intact, and they can't touch that money. And I've been involved in a 501c3 with the Wyoming Game and Fish, and there's very strict rules. So the constituency can rest assured. This lawsuit aside, once it's settled. And I really think the money is what's going to make it settle faster than anything, because they can't spend that $160 million on lawsuits. Right. That money is marked to projects and to programs.
So you take those dollars that are there, and they're set aside for programs and things within the NRA, aside from the state stuff. We also created in both North and South Dakota at one time. We had, we were doing well, so we took some extra money that we did not use for grants. Because like I always said, not every grant is worth funding. So we got through that, and we didn't fund every grant because they weren't all, just because you had the money didn't mean you should spend it on bad things.
Yeah, that's right.
We created the endowment, and I believe we did that, if I remember, in both North and South Dakota. That money can never, ever come out of that endowment. It just could, the interest could be, well, that's been 10 years ago or plus. So I don't know what them are at. And I was going to actually mention to you the next time I talk to you that, hey, you should get a report on the endowment for South Dakota and see what's in there now. Because I bet you everybody forgot about it.
I think that it's still there, and there's still some money there. But what basically where we're at right now is, just to look at it like a balance sheet. All the money raised prior to February 1st is going to have to be put back into the foundation until the lawsuit's finalized. And so, I'm closing accounts. I'm still working for the NRA, ironically. I just made Joe Crismore, I'm sure.
Joe's a good guy, yes.
Yeah, I just worked with Joe today on some stuff, on some banking stuff, and tried to clean up some stuff. But basically, that's all going to go back to the foundation side. because of the, all the money that's in any account that's been raised prior to February 1. And then all of that's been accounted for. And then February 1, under the new EIN, we'll start earning money through the Friends program, just like it's always been. But that number will change on the bank account. The EIN number will change.
Right.
But then once this foundation thing gets settled, which I'm sure it's going to, then all of those endowments and all those monies will go back into the new EIN, and there'll be another ultimately NRA Foundation. And I'm not sure that they won't settle it out of court. Honestly,
they probably will, because for one, the press is going to be really bad on this. I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it already. But when I'm looking at what they talked about, everyone don't understand that the NRA is a 501c4. Okay, that's the NRA. The foundation was a C3. And then when Hamlin come out and talked about what they were planning to do with this, they're talking about the new NRA Patriots Fund, which is a 501c3 as well. And, I wouldn't doubt that they just use that unless the board changes. I mean, they can't even get the questions answered as to what the new board chairman there is making at the NRA Foundation, David Coy. They, as the treasurer, they can't get how much Peter Churchborn is being paid as the CEO of the foundation, and what I seen one thing was cited, the $12,500 a month for services for marketing. So you can't do that. The board of trustees, they have to serve an answer to NRA, and they're not doing that. In fact, they're not so sure, but it sounds like they passed a bylaw that they're not even going to answer to the NRA. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. They've essentially decided that they can act unilaterally apart from the organization. And, that you and I both know that you might think that that'll work in the short term. I really equate it to much like a kicking and screaming, toddler. The old cabal, the old Wayne LaPierre standbys, you could say, they weren't asked to come along and drive the new ship. They weren't asked to come along. And so, when those executive positions went to Hamlin and JP Carter and folks like that, they ended up shifting over into the NRA Foundation side. And so I really, it's really malicious is what it boils down to. And I hate to say it that way, but it really is, because they're doing everything they can to muddy the waters even further for people. And that's the message. I think it's great to be on this podcast with you, because we really have to say to everybody who's been involved with the Friends program, who's made large long-term investments in shooting sports, hey, we're going to get this ship righted. This has to happen. This has to survive. These painful things have to take place to get it right.
Well, and I got asked that here just after I started talking about it. And my answer to that same question was, stay the course. Make sure you do your banquet. It's not going to affect your banquet. There might be some merchandise disruption possibly, but that's overcame very easily. If you go through local vendors, who knows? You might even find a new sponsor doing that. But do that, and then I know they're going to have something settled by next year, because when those state fund committee meetings start in January, they're going to have this settled, because that has to happen. That's in bylaws. And it has to.
Well, happen. I think what'll actually happen. That's why they're starting this new EIN, and rolling into that is essentially all the money raised. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think the only money that'll be affected by that at that point would be old NRA Foundation money that's sitting there. But all the money that's actually being raised, basically from here on out. The grant board and all those grant meetings and stuff will just take place under that new EIN. So,
right. And I guess that's what I was getting at, that's why they did that. That's why they're dropping it into a new foundation. To make sure that happens. So to the volunteers, yes, keep doing it, because that's still going to be the same program with the same structure that it always has. And you'll just go on, and the lawsuit will play out however it plays out. So, I tell you, let's come back. I'm going to take a quick break, Nate. If you want to mess with your camera, it'll be about, I think I'll do the big one. That'll give you about 4 minutes.
Perfect.
To mess with it.
I'm
And
probably
we'll
going to log out and see what I can do. Yeah. Thank
if
you.
nothing else, try your phone and see if you can get your camera to work on there. But we'll do a
it
quick
works
break.
fine on my phone. Yep.
And then we'll, what I'll do is I'll probably run through some of these comments, and we're going to keep talking NRA with now former field rep Nate Brown. But I have a feeling he might be coming back unless you find a great job before that. But we'll be right back, everybody, right after these great messages from our great sponsors.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just 1 block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon. Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton LaserCraft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton LaserCraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton LaserCraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton LaserCraft, where memories are engraved.
All right, we're back and we have video.
I'm moving out of that bright light for you, Clay.
All right, well, sounds good. So, yeah, hey, thanks to Lauer Auto Repair right down there on South Washington Street in Bismarck. Axe and the boys do a great job. They've been with us from the very beginning, so stop in, tell them hi, tell them thank you for supporting Guns in the 701 Network and all the shows we have. And we couldn't do it without our great sponsors. In fact, Roger and Jane Rover with Horton LaserCraft today. We were visiting, having a little cup of coffee. So it's great to know that your sponsors are also your friends and your neighbors. So again, thanks everybody for supporting the show. Coming up on 3 years here in August. But getting back to the NRA and with Nate, and let's get to some of these comments. Carrie says trap shooting is huge. She's right. The high school trap shooting got really big in North Dakota. I think they're doing it down in South Dakota. But I went over when it was really getting its foothold and becoming big in Minnesota when I was a rep. I went over there to see what they did. And I was amazed that in Minnesota, Minnesota's not exactly known for their love of guns, but yet the high school trap shooting is just phenomenal. And that's pretty much what they modeled it after when they started going to other states. I was very impressed when I got over there. Hey, Dan, he's joined in. Dan Hager, thanks for joining in there. One shot. Good evening, Patriots. Absolutely. Jamie joined us, 701 Nation. So, yeah, Doug said, too, that he wished he could have made that event at the range in Rapid City, but he was working. So I haven't talked to you. I think you made that still, didn't you, there at the new range?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we really tailored it similar to an NRA event or a typical Friends event. However, we did it right after the open house or the ribbon cutting. So we just decided to hold it as a public event and just have food trucks. We didn't sell tables, so a lot of the funding mechanisms weren't there. But I still netted a little over 10K out of that event. So really good. And we had probably 400 people walk through the room. And, the space up there at the new Pete Lean complex is actually, it's only supposed to fit 250, but the nature of the event worked out really well because, people could kind of filter through there. They came down from the hill and when they watched Larry cut the ribbon or shoot the ribbon in half and stuff. And what a great facility. I was on course to have a Second Amendment celebration at the range. I'm still in talks with those guys. I don't know what my role will look like or what even the NRA's role is going to look like, but I definitely would keep my eyes on that Pete Lean shooting complex for anyone in the region. There's a pretty good chance there will be a big blowout there of some type this summer. It's the 250th. That's why the timing of this upheaval within the NRA is just so disgusting. Is we really were primed to have a once in a lifetime type of a year, so.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why I threw that question out and how that went, because, talking about that, and I know that you were kind of planning something because you and I talked about that last time, but setting aside NRA's involvement, stay in touch with me because I thought, there's no reason that Guns and 701 couldn't get involved with you. And
for sure,
I would come down and have some fun and help you. I mean, I might know something about fundraising too, so I could give you a hand.
And I think that Eric Linder. I mean, you're in North Dakota; it's his area now as well. But I think we really need to pin Eric down once his butt catches up to him, in all this, and just tell him, hey, Clay and we'll put a freaking event on for you in the Black Hills. I mean, if we dangled that carrot in front of him, he would be crazy not to latch onto it. And
dust off the old hat, and
I'll give you a new one that looks just like this one. I may or may not have a couple of those stashed somewhere.
I think I have just about one hat from every year I was there for sure, and then from when I was a volunteer, going back to the Minuteman ones. So yeah, I got a few. They're in my collection downstairs here.
Well, and that's the thing about the Dakotas is, even where you're at, it's nothing for people to pull together. The Dakotas, we could hold an epic event. The Black Hills, everybody in that region either loves guns or they're too scared to say they don't, So
it would be anti-Second Amendment down there. So there you go. So Doug just said, let me know. So that he can help, so he can take the time off so he can help. So there you go. There's your former chairman. And I think it's going to be, from my standpoint, it'd be cool to come down because I'm probably going to see a lot of friends I haven't seen since them days. And we have
absolutely
supporters and friends. And I bet if I dug far enough here, I bet I got a lot of the old contacts from some of that stuff too that could get an invite. So, hey,
for sure.
Take a look at it for sure, because you don't have to twist my arm too hard to go down to Rapid City. I like making that trip down there anyway.
That's right. Well, and and what that would really do, I would love to pull that off, because what that would really do is that would show headquarters like, hey, South Dakota is, and North Dakota both, this whole part of the country, we're going to be behind the Second Amendment, and we're going to stand behind the Second Amendment and the NRA no matter what. We're all about them getting this dialed up right. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for the NRA to really get their head out of where. So, and I think we've got the momentum. It's the 250th. We've got a positive. We're in a positive election cycle, at least from the Second Amendment perspective. So, I mean, why not capitalize on this and remind people the importance of it? That's the thing. And we're raising whole new generations of kids that if they don't learn about how important the Second Amendment is, somebody else is going to get a hold of them, a liberal, professor somewhere or something. And, that's the thing. I mean, we've got to get this ship righted.
Well, I guarantee if I'd have still been a rep, knowing this was the 250th coming up, my whole theme for the year would have been the 250th anniversary of Friends of NRA, of the United States at the Friends of NRA. I mean, of course, we'd have had the standard package, but that standard package would have had a lot of 250th anniversary items that we would have. I know I'd have went to A&A Engraving and we'd have created our own gun and
we've got that opportunity. I think what we just need to do, and I've still got access to all that stuff. You guys have got me so excited. We'll make Doug a chair, or a co-chair, whatever he wants to do, and we can all sign up. But I think I ought to just sign a charter up and just email it to Eric Linder and say, you've got a committee that's going to do something whether you show up or not, buddy. So you better hustle up and jump on the wagon.
I know we talked about getting together while I'm down there this weekend. So if you end up coming over, you bring a charter, because I'm pretty sure that my old copies probably don't. They've changed a little, I imagine. So
we just got to put a big sticker over the top of it that says, Friends of NRA. I think the issue they're running into right now is every piece of paper they've got has something to do with the foundation on it. So, But I think they're in a position right now where there's no way that they would turn us down. So
that'd be fun, wouldn't it? That'd be a good time.
It would be, and it'd be an epic thing, and it would really show that, hey, we're bigger than the organizational struggles.
Well, I know I would probably have to call Gary down there at Custer. He used to be a chair down there, and I'm sure he'd come up like I said, we haven't done any of this for so many years. It'd be fun, like a big reunion.
Yeah, it would be.
Well, all right. So with that, and talking to 250th, you're right. It's really bad timing to have this happen. It truly is. But it's worse timing for the midterms coming up. And I know my friend Jamie, he's got his own program now, 701 Nations, and I know he's listening tonight, but he's been saying it too. Hey, NRA probably better start getting involved because we've got the midterms coming. And he's not wrong. I can tell you, I imagine NRA's financial position. I know it's not what it was in 2020. I know it's not what it was the first time Trump ran, because I was still there when that happened. And it was the first time we endorsed anybody in the primary. Trump's not on the ballot this time. Okay. He's not on the ballot come the next big general election. So the midterms, they're very important. I'm not too concerned about the Texas thing that people are sounding the alarm. One was a state's legislator seat, and it was a special election, and the turnout was low. You're going to have that. The other seat that they took in Congress, everybody needs to realize that it was a runoff. Remember, there was not a full percentage to win. So it was a special election for a runoff between the top two, which was two top Democrats. So it's two Democrats running against each other. It was going to go to a Democrat. We lost that seat last November. But that is not what the narrative was in the media, and they're trying to make it sound like, see. No, it was going to be a Democrat all along. So just keep that in mind, everybody. But it's not that we don't need to be focused and be involved. But I don't think what happened in Texas is to be that alarming, in all honesty. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's a tough deal. I mean, we've got Colorado in the shape they're in. We just have to remind people, the last great places are Wyoming, the Dakotas, Montana kind of got their poop in a group now. They're
returning.
They're back in the saddle on, turning red again. And but I'll tell you what, man, it's really nip and tuck these days. Well, it really is. There's so much money behind the anti-gun lobby and just the George Soros types, and it's an all-encompassing thing. But there's just absolutely phenomenal amounts of money lobbying against us being American.
I will tell you this, that that's my thing. I like numbers, and I like analyzing things. And actually, Monday, Michael Bell and I were talking about this, and him and I are pretty much on the same, I guess, pathway as what we see for the midterms. You got to look at the races that are up. Okay. Yes, it's the midterms. Oh, everybody get excited. And not that you shouldn't. But I think there's going to be a net gain of 3 to 4 in the House with the races that are coming up, and they're in what I would call middle to red seats. And we should have I think we're going to see a net gain there. I think the Senate, I think we gain 2 to 3, and that's based on the ones that are up. All the other ones that are not being mentioned they're either going to go Democrat or Republican, and it because they went that way for 40 years.
Yeah, they're going to go right down party lines like they always do. Yeah, and there's a lot of truth to that. But I think what we do have to realize as conservative people in general is that it's really a matter of apathy. And that's the thing, is it's easy to say, well, yeah, we're going to vote down party lines. But another one I want to throw out there is look at Virginia, look at Spangenberger. We've got Fairfax, Virginia, the home of the NRA, and look what's happened.
Well, I don't know if you've seen what some of the new taxes alone that they're putting out is crazy, but I don't know if you've seen the deal where they just introduced Senate bill, and I had to print this out. Senate Bill 749. This is in Virginia. They would confiscate standard capacity firearm magazines, detachable magazines, anything 10 rounds or more. And I call 20 and 30 rounds standard because there's like 717 million magazines that are 10 rounds and over have been produced since 1990. Yep. There's a few of them out there. They're pretty common, pretty standard. And I would even say in common use. Remember that term from Bruin?
Yeah.
So I think that even if they do pass this, I think it's going to go to court. In fact, I don't think it. I know it. Either NRA or Second Amendment Foundation, any of these will hop on board and file, because it won't go to the Supreme Court, and it will be thrown out and overturned because of Bruin. Now, it might take some time. It doesn't just go right to the Supreme Court. And I noticed that the NRA actually come out and said, hey, because of District of Columbia versus Heller, and I was working for the NRA then, that was pretty cool driving home, people beeping their horns coming home from Missouri because we had just won that case that day. And I had my big NRA sticker. People were coming by going, honk, and giving the thumbs up, because that was a huge victory. It was one of our very first big victories, that Heller case.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really do believe that the midterms are important. Don't get complacent. When we don't vote, that's when we lose. The other side is not as big
as
everybody thinks they are.
Yeah, and you're right. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but what I am trying to do is encourage people to not just sit in the borrow ditch and watch the traffic go by. Stand up, be a part, be on a local committee. You're a field rep, retired, but it's unbelievable how many things people can be involved in nowadays. Kids especially, the schools have taken the kids. I mean, they've got us, kids are leveraged to be in sports all summer now if they want to play during the school year. And, there's just a lot of different things pulling kids and pulling families in different directions. But one of the things that we have to remember is if somebody doesn't stand up and keep things headed the right direction, then somebody else will. There's always people waiting to take over and change South Dakota to look like, Minnesota or Minneapolis. And
they can't wait to move in there and try to change it. And that's what they're doing. They're moving and they're fleeing their states that they've destroyed. Thing is if it took till now, we don't want them either because they still have the wrong ideology. They're not one of us. They're not the same.
That's right.
We get to a few of these. Lynette says, "Hey, great to have you here, Nate." So Lynette, she's the wife of one of our sponsors there, Doug, who owns LAUER Repair.
Thank you, Lynette. Yeah, thank you very much.
Doug says 4th of July. Wouldn't that be epic? Talking about having an event. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
It would be. And there's some scuttlebutt. I'm not going to dangle this out on in public yet, but I'll have a discussion with you, Clay. I don't want to make any promises, but there's some talk about some pretty epic stuff going on. So
if you've been talking to the same people I have, I think I probably know, but yes, we'll talk off air because I can't really say it either. And I've already kind of blocked that out of my calendar that in case I need to go to the Black Hills.
Yep.
Which to me would be fitting, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's see the other one. Carrie Lynn. So Carrie Lynn, she's up in that Dickinson area. And thanks for tuning in tonight, Carrie. She says it's crazy to think that Montana doesn't have a clay target league yet. And I guess I didn't know that, but I kind of was looking online and she's right. I don't see where Montana has grasped that high school trap shooting thing yet, but they will. Maybe we'll have to talk to Joe and say, hey, come on. Joe.
Yeah. Hey, Carrie Lynn, if you're ever up in the Killdeer Mountains, stop by and check out my place for me and let me know how my renter's doing. I've got a house up there in the Killdeer Mountains. So,
well, good. Now, if I ever draw an elk tag up in that country, I know where I can stay. No.
That's right.
I've been putting in for elk for years. Let's just say I don't really rock the boat. I like tipping the boat over at Game and Fish. So I don't know if I'll probably never, they say it's random, but I don't know if I'll ever get an actual elk tag. Well, other than that, so now you're unemployed. I suppose you got all kinds of time on your hands, right?
Boy, I'll tell you what, it's sobering. I really haven't ever been unemployed for any length of time in my entire life. And it's just a phenomenal thing when you're recruited to go to the work for the NRA based on your fundraising background and the experience that I had. And then I still couldn't stay employed. I'm like, dang it, So anybody out there that's looking for, I kind of remind myself of this old painting that my grandfather had. It was a branding crew outside of a branding trap. There was a guy sitting on the ground leaning against a fence post eating a big slice of watermelon that he'd stolen, and there was still a lot of work going on. He said hiring you was like firing two good men, so if you need some really terrible help out there, let me know. I'm a day trader. I'll show up and
day laborer, right?
I'll show up and plug a hole in a gate or fix fence or whatever at this point. But no, I've got some opportunities I'm looking at. I loved what I was doing, obviously, and I think I'll still be involved in the industry at some point, in some way, shape, or form, no matter what. I love the shooting sports industry. I love the NRA. I want to really see the NRA succeed. And man, I'll tell you what, things happen for a reason. So
they do. And I was just kind of looking at the map here, Nate. So looks like before you left, the actual ones that were chartered here, you got one in Gillette and one in Laramie. That's what's on the map anyway, coming up in Wyoming as far as banks.
Yeah, and I had just so you know, like this is where I was at. I had several committees that we didn't have the date plugged in yet and have our ticket packages put together yet, so I didn't have them live on Tracker and on the webpage yet. Yep. So, but we had Rollins, we had Gillette, we had Wright, Casper. Okay. Casper was the first one in many, many years. Cody, Riverton, Rock Springs, Baggs, believe it or not, which is a small town south of Rollins. Baggs was signed up, and then of course Laramie. And then I also had, 2 events chartered in South Dakota, and I have great talks going on with the folks at Hot Springs down there.
Really?
At the little Fall River Gun Club in Rock Springs.
Yep.
Yep.
In Hot Springs.
I
For
also
years, I tried to put one in Hot Springs, and the last year I was there, I had maybe an opportunity, but I was like, I'm leaving. That was when I was retiring, and I passed it on to the next rep, but nothing came about it. So.
Well, and I also have this is part and parcel of what the NRA is all about, or the Friends of NRA, especially the folks, some of the kids, and I actually got them. If any of you that are on were at my event at Rapid City at the shooting complex, they were running some of the games, but I commandeered some kids from down at the School of Mines in Rapid City.
Yep.
Black Hills School of Mines. They were great kids, just beating doors down, looking for help. Finally ended up getting a kid gathered up there, and then I had him bring his buddies, and they ended up running games for me. But they're on the mechanical engineering school at the School of Mines. They want to start like essentially a Sonora style gunsmithing school in the Black Hills.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And
wow.
I said, this is literally what you guys need to do. Start a charter, start your own committee at the School of Mines, have a chartered event at the college. We can tailor it towards your crowd at the college there, and we'll get local support. And you know how it is. You start talking to people about the education aspect of things and youth, and if you can get youth involved, but low-hanging fruit there,
Right.
That's another one. Those guys are great kids, and what they really want to do is show the School of Mines that it's okay. They have literally all the tools and all the machinery that they need to run a gunsmithing school, but they aren't allowed to build a gun that's functional on site at campus. And I was prepared to go lobby with them at the college and go to the board of directors of the school and say, listen, you have an opportunity to provide another really cool, course of study right here in the Black Hills. It would just blow up. They'd have a ton of students come just for that.
Well, if there was a gunsmithing school to go to in South Dakota, I think that would be, you would draw people from Wyoming, South Dakota, of course, North Dakota, Nebraska. You're going to draw from a big area because there's not that many schools.
You're right. And it's just an epic place to live and go to school. People love the Black Hills. They come there anyway. Black Hills State, all those colleges right around there do well just because of the pull of the area. So, but I thought it was great. Those guys hit me up, and I was working on that one. I was going to get a charter there. I was pretty sure I was going to pull that off, and then they let me go. So anyway,
well,
I'm trying really, really hard to not sound too disgruntled, but it just is what it is.
Well, you mentioned Sonora, but Colorado School of Trades. It's funny, Colorado's becoming lost very fast. But yes, there's if you want to go to a gunsmithing school, there's not that many options. I think there's 4 or 5 in the whole country that specialize in gunsmithing.
Trinidad has one in Colorado. I just actually shot at Whittington last weekend with one of the instructors from Trinidad. I went down there with Howard Massengill. He's on the board of directors and board of trustees for Whittington, and I got to meet him. And really a cool place.
Whittington's great. So myself and DJ Doug that's on here, Dan Brown, he was with us. I'm trying to remember there was several of us went down there and just had literally a blast going down there and shooting at Whittington. We did a regional meeting there. That's something I probably won't forget. And I kind of want to get back there. My sons are both old enough now that they could go down, and they got tons of cabins. They got camping spots if you want to take a camper. But I've just been trying to. It's not going to happen this summer. I got a different vacation plan, but. Yeah, I think one of these years we're just going to hop up and we're going to go down there. The drive isn't that bad.
The thing about Whittington, I told those guys, I said, you need to advertise in the Dakotas and in Wyoming and Montana. The thing about Whittington is, for people like us that live up here in cold country, if they had shoots in January and February in Whittington, we could go down there and leave the Dakotas and go down there and shoot at Whittington. If it was 45 or 50 degrees, it'd be like summertime for us. So,
well, that's what we did. We went down, and it was January, if I remember right, and it was beautiful down there. I mean, and of course, we had to shoot at the White Buffalo and have some fun with that, because that's what 1,120 some yards,
23 yards.
There you go. Yeah,
I shot about a box of shells at the dang thing. I got where I was dialed in, and I could ring that gong every time. It's amazing how easy it is to shoot 1,000 yards with this modern technology we have at our fort.
Yeah. But Doug mentioned, it was fun. So we had a truckload, and he says, then we had a box full of guns chocked full to the top of the bed of my pickup. That's a true story.
Oh yeah,
I know. We took an arsenal.
The thing about Whittington is it's just such a largely underused and undervalued facility. I'm really excited to see a new board of trustees that's working on Whittington, and there's a lot of new things in the works for Whittington, and I'm super excited to see that place really open up and blow up. They haven't marketed it like they should. There's a lot of talk about growth there and potential growth there. So
there's
super exciting to see that happen. I mean, we should be having every national match at Whittington that we can. And
the facility is, it's class act, isn't it?
Yeah, for people that have never been there, it's definitely worth the trip. And from the Dakotas and the Black Hills, it's 9 hours from my house to Whittington. It's probably relatively the same. You go right down I-25, shoot down through Denver, and you're there. But the place is 33,000 acres. They have a range for literally every discipline that you can imagine down there. Several ranges, 1,000-yard ranges. It's just a phenomenal place. Shotgun ranges. They have, elk hunting, deer hunting, antelope hunting, pronghorn right on site. It's just a phenomenal place. And like you said, there's lodging and camping and all the above.
And it's nice. It really is. I was going to see if I could pull this up here and share it. I think you can see that. So there's the founders cabins. That's where we were in. We were in one of the founders cabins. I remember the design, and we had some fun there. And there was there's 3 or 4 rooms, if I remember right, in there. So $100 per room per night. You can put 2 people in each room. That's pretty cheap lodging, really.
I stayed in what they call the competitors, or shooters cabin.
Yep.
And it was $75 for that. Yep. And it's a twin bed, but they have good mattresses and good and clean and stuff. That actually is go back to that if you would.
Back up here.
I wanted to plug Colonel Robert Brown from Soldier of Fortune magazine. That's the lobby or the commons area of the competitor cabin that I stayed in. And every one of those African heads that are on there were harvested by Colonel Robert Brown, who's a famous Soldier of Fortune magazine editor and career military special forces guy. He was the guy that founded Soldier of Fortune magazine. So it's just an epic place.
It really is. Like I said, we had a blast there, had a lot of fun. Of course, we did our region right there. You can see what he's talking about there. Can you guys see that on there? Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Yeah, that's those are all killed by the Colonel right there. If you guys don't know who Colonel Robert Brown is, just Google him up. He's a very colorful character. He's in his 90s now. Former he's been on the board of the NRA many times, and actually running currently to be back on the board, which is it's pretty interesting. But he's an icon in the firearms industry and in the outdoor shooting sports industry and everything.
You look at these log cabins, $20 per person per night. And it's a minimum of 4, maximum of 10 people. That's pretty cheap there. I remember seeing those up there too. That's not expensive to go there and have a good time and not break the bank and have great accommodations. It truly is. And if you don't want to, eat it there, they got like a little kitchenette stuff up there. But if you don't want to eat there, you can take your own food. They've got fridges and cooking there.
Barbecue.
And even, if you're with the right guys, heck, you might even find your bed out on the front gravel parking lot in the morning. with
the
the nightstand and the lamp,
whole area,
right, Doug?
There's skiing and there's Taos close by. It's not a bad place to, if any of you guys are having trouble getting your wives to come along on your shooting expeditions, you can say, well, honey, you can always go over to Taos and go hang out in Taos, New Mexico, or run down to Albuquerque, and I'll be right here at Whittington shooting.
We went in Taos one night. Imagine this, there was a Mexican restaurant, so we went there. It was pretty good food, and just kind of picked up a few things in town. I think that was maybe the last night we were there, just to check it out, because we hadn't really been anywhere except at the range, because we didn't have to leave. I mean, everything was there. So
it's really a pretty cool place.
DJ was just talking about some, and I looked up North Dakota as well. There's only 2 that are actually in the system. One at Grand Forks coming up April 4th, and one in Mandan, which is Dakota Rough Riders. That's coming up October 23rd. And actually, my brother and sister-in-law run that one. So he said Watford City's got one coming again. So he thinks that's in May. That's good to hear. Let's see. Yeah, Doug Thompson. Yeah, short shooting with beds too. Yeah. So it was just like when we were there, going back to Whittington, think about putting a bunch of us kind of guys in there having fun. Our wives are not there. We're out there for meetings. It was like being in a dorm room all over again. I mean, we even crawled in and essentially through windows to get the other guy's place and, stack their beds, bunk their beds, even though they weren't bunked. And then we took a cord and tied around their doorknob and took it out to the front, tied it onto a pillar so they couldn't open their door coming out of their room. Yeah, it was just like antics. Just like we were a bunch of kids again. So
that's funny.
It was fun. We had a great time, and I'd do it all over again. So I'm glad you got to go down, because that's a
it really was. It was really cool. Yeah, I got to hang out a little bit with Buzz Mills with Gunsight as well. He was there.
Yep.
They're really a kind of a epic opportunity. So I jumped on it and ran down there and had a good time.
Absolutely. So I was looking at South Dakota. Yankton, South Dakota has the Lewis and Clark one coming up May 30th. So that's the ones that are in the system. As far as what's online, if you're looking for them, that's all you're going to find. But I would say the best thing is get a hold of me or Nate. We can probably put you in touch with Eric. I don't know. I imagine Joe's going to have to cover a little bit of this too. I don't know, for the help out.
Well, and
I imagine it's a team effort right now.
One thing to do is just bounce back to the Friends website, the webpage. That's going to change rapidly, as you know, in the spring. And with the current upheaval, in the NRA, and all these guys are, restructuring and trying to figure out how many areas, things they can cover. Eric Linder very likely wouldn't even be able to make our event, just because of the schedule and all the different events he's holding. But I think that's really what you're going to see in this year, and this year of restructuring and struggles within the NRA. But I think it's important. I love your idea, Clay, about throwing together a banquet committee and just having one in the Black Hills for the region, at least, just to remind people. Right. That was really why I was so excited and so happy to be working for the NRA and bring South Dakota back. I went and spent time East River with the folks in Yankton, had a great event. We actually did a pre-event on December the 13th and had a great turnout, just because, the timing wasn't right to have one during the normal calendar year, so the momentum is there, and I think it's a great opportunity to hop back, keep that momentum going, let people know South Dakota's still on the map, the Dakotas are still on the map, and Wyoming. And I think, we're going to see the Friends of NRA come back bigger and better than ever. It's just going to take some time.
And I was kind of just looking at, so the website has for Wyoming, they've got Don Higgs and of course David Wells on there right now. And
that's because interestingly enough, actually that hasn't even been updated. Don Higgs is an RD, and he's no longer with the program. He retired.
Yep.
So David Wells, and right now Brad Kruger and David Wells are the only regional directors nationwide. So
oh wow.
Yeah.
Brad Kruger. Anyway, so I just seen that Mike, down there in Tennessee. I was like, oh, he got laid off, which that one surprised me. Mike,
it really did me as well. Yep.
He'd been with them a long time. In fact, he was in my quote freshman class. He got hired the same year I did. So
I think what they did, honestly, and I don't know, but I think really what they were up against is they had to find X amount of dollars in the payroll, and it was like, here's what, anybody that was close to retirement, anybody that was in a region that was struggling and hadn't made money, it was like, that's the easiest way to find the dollar bills. So,
well, I think that's why Michael probably went out. He was going to go at least another year or two, from what I understood. And he was at retirement age, 66. So I suppose that was, they took all that stuff into consideration. Probably the newest guys first were on the list. And then they probably looked at the areas in the region and how they could cover and not cover. I mean, it's like any kind of a corporate layoff. Seriously. It comes down to dollars and cents and how can we litigate what we have at the best of their ability. And I'm sure that's what happened. Yeah.
And it sucks, but it is what it is. And I think it'll actually be really, really cool if we can pull something off, around, like Doug was mentioning, around the 4th, something like that would just be epic. It really would be.
That would be, wouldn't it? Well, tell you what, let's take a quick break. I'm going to do the big one again, all 4 of them. So I'm going to get some extra play time tonight just because, we want to get you back, get you some video with us. So I'm going to go ahead and play our ads and everyone take a quick break. It's a good time. It's going to be all 4 of the commercials and thank our sponsors. And we'll come back and I don't know, we'll see where it leads. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Catch you here in a few.
LAUER Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at LAUER Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with LAUER, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. LAUER Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at LAUER Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's LAUER Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just 1 block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon. Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul's, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton LaserCraft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton LaserCraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton LaserCraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton LaserCraft, where memories are engraved.
All right, we're back. Oh, I must have lost him. I'm going to bring him back in here. There he is. Are you back again?
Yeah, that was a problem. I ended up hitting the wrong button on my phone, and I had to log back in.
It happens. Hey, Rumble, sorry I wasn't monitoring, but thanks for tuning in over there too. So happy to have our Rumble listeners. I still have not been able to integrate the Rumble chat into this like we see it on here. So I don't know. Rumble and then X, they've kind of messed around with us too. So, but X is out there tonight. So thanks to everybody tuning in over there on X as well, because I don't get to all the comments, but I'm not sure that the X ones are coming in. I haven't been paying attention a whole lot. So if they're not, please switch over or I guess send them to us. One thing I can tell you, if you go to the website, gunsofthe701.com, that's all been redesigned. And I believe she's got the main feed coming in there from YouTube. And if you just click on that, it'll take you right to the YouTube feed and then you're able to comment. So we've made it really, really easy. so I don't know. I was kind of looking through these comments. Doug also said that looks like Rapid City, they've got a great high school trap club. And then I forgot about 4-H. So 4-H programs when I was a rep, Nate, were just huge in both North and South Dakota. Bigger in South Dakota and North Dakota because you had North Dakota with the North Dakota Shooting Sports Foundation. They had a very vibrant and active youth shooting program. So the 4-H stuff wasn't quite as big there, but South Dakota's was huge. I mean, we funded a lot of 4-H shooting sports programs in the state of South Dakota. Did you see any of that in Wyoming the short time you were there?
Yeah, and the 4-H programs, it's really a function of, I think, the struggles that the NRA has had even just since the whole 2019 COVID era, the banquet space. And, I have people all over the state asking me, and still have people asking, hey, will you guys support this? We're going to stick a grant in there. And I'll tell you, one of the hardest conversations to have is grants cannot be funded if it isn't funded through this program. There's just, there's a lot of other organizations that help, but people have to remember the Friends of NRA program is literally the largest supporter of shooting sports nationwide. And it has been since the inception of time, since it started in 1990. The Friends program came on board in 91, but over $660 million have been put on the ground, net dollars put on the ground into shooting sports, in about 35 years. And, obviously you were a big part of that, Clay. I was for a short period of time, but, that's where we need to be. We need to get back again. The NRA's had a little bit of a tarnished reputation, but people have to take it over. And that's what, there's a Facebook page. I want to plug it for anybody that's interested. It's called Members Take Back Our NRA, or Take Back the NRA. If you feel like you're one of the only ones out there, you're not.
No.
There are a lot of people nationwide that are ready to see the NRA get back in its glory and be doing the things that it was doing, because there's nothing that's done more for shooting sports and for Second Amendment protection than the NRA. So a lot of great organizations out there, but they really can't even carry the water bottle that the NRA has. So
So I guess shout out to Eric. He's listening tonight from the friendly skies, currently in the air on the way home. So thanks for tuning in on the plane. Now we are worldwide. We're in the air. We're everywhere. So, but no, you're right.
Gotta love Wi-Fi on the plane.
I think if I remember right, and I don't remember the number anymore, but for the 9 years that I actually was the rep in South Dakota, and that first year we only did it was $225,000 net dollars with both states, but that was coming off of the guy that retired before me, and he only did like 180 something. So we had quite a net gain just in 1 year, and I didn't change a lot because I was kind of evaluating. Then we bumped up fast, and I think it was close. It was like 4 million, I think, net for the Dakotas, 4 or 5 million. That's pretty big chunk of money we were putting down through the Friends programs in the states of South Dakota. And,
that's a phenomenal number. And there's a lot of different things that have happened. We obviously know there's a lot of other great organizations out there that have banquets. Really, the Friends program, and this is something I've talked to a lot of tenured people that have been around since the inception of the Friends of NRA. We really taught Elk Foundation, Mule Deer Foundation, all of those other organizations how to make money. And, there's a lot of those organizations that have carbon copied, the program. And so, it's a different world that we live in now. But I think once the faith is restored in the NRA as an organization and people start seeing, the ship headed the right direction again, I think the momentum will be gained. And banquet spaces change, things happen, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to working with you and Doug. I've got you guys signed up on a charter right now. You guys haven't signed it yet, but
I guess we're committed now.
I had to guess what Doug's signature looks like because I just forged it. But anyway,
there you go. I can tell you this, they were a lot of fun, and I'll be honest. When I took over, I was looking to try and make them fun because they weren't always that way. Some were still not as fun as others. I mean, we go up to Dickinson and have a blast up there. I can tell you some of the keys to that. You got to create the atmosphere. You do that by, if you can sell it out, because there's a lot of people in there, right? Have some noise, have some fun. But I also had Scott Buckmeyer helping me, and then he brought his buddy, Jesse Flapp, and we played off of each other. We all had a mic in our hand, and they would razz each other. We'd razz me. There was always constant atmosphere going on, which made the night go fast. And I really tried my hardest to never go past 9 or 9:30 at night and have it wrapped. Yep. We might not be done, but we had them people done and out the doors or heading towards the doors by 9:30. They weren't.
Yeah, they were paying their bills, and they were. Yeah, yep.
We implemented tab systems. Remember this has been a while ago, and our tab systems were working real good, and we turned that. And actually, Doug's wife, Lisa, is the one who created the first one with a wristband with a number. We turned that into bidding cards. So then you had your bidding card, and we had that on the computer in a spreadsheet, and it was pretty easy to tally it up. And you could even charge things at every game if you didn't have cash. The only thing you couldn't charge anything at was the bar, because we didn't do anything with that. But we kind of had that thing. It was rocking and rolling. It seemed like chaos at times to us in the background, but when I'd hear the comments from the people attending, like, wow, you guys really run a really good ship here, or it was one of the classiest events we always went to. And I was glad to hear comments like that, because as far as the people were concerned, it was a fun night.
Yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
what you wanted. And they walked away. We tried to empty their pockets as good as we could, but it was a lot of fun. It truly was. Now, you talk about the other banquets. Wall of Guns was probably the thing I seen copied the most after it got out to all the banquets. That actually was Brad Kruger and the crew up there come up with that in Alaska. That's where it was first done. Great idea. Then we took it and run. All of a sudden, I think I had to go to another banquet, just one of these PR things. So I went. Oh, wait a second. That's our Wall of Guns up there. It's like they stole our idea, but I guess why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah. Well, there's some discussion now It might be a little too late, but there is some discussion about trademarking some of these games and ideas and stuff. And the NRA probably should have done that 30 years ago, because there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, if people see something that works, they'll jump on it and carbon copy it.
The bucket raffle was probably the first bigger thing that came about from Friends of NRA programs that I had never seen before till I went to an actual NRA event, before I was even involved. And all of a sudden I started seeing bucket raffles show up at these other events. And I think they're still a staple. I can't imagine they're not. DJ just said, he goes, yeah, Lisa's been running the buckets up there in Watford now, and they're doing $10,000-$15,000 on it. And that was pretty common up in that Watford City area.
For sure.
I mean, we were getting some pretty big bucket raffles we even did $1,000 ones in Marmarth, North Dakota. If you haven't been to Marmarth, guys, you'd never guess you could sell $1,000 bucket raffle packs, but you could. You could.
Yep.
Or
I know where Marmarth is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know where Marmarth is.
In fact, I might be heading over there. We'll see, maybe next weekend. I don't know. I might try to do a different day than Valentine's Day. They got a great
Bowman, Marmarth, that whole area.
Yep. They got a great steakhouse in Marmarth called The Pastime. Check it out, everybody. There, they got a free plug. I highly recommend it.
Isn't Marmarth? That used to be on the old. It's a really cool little old ghost town that there's not much there anymore, but the steakhouse is still there. But that place. It's a phenomenal thing, on the old trail days when they trail cattle all the way up to the Dakotas from Texas and into Montana.
That could have been.
It's a pretty interesting spot.
The old buildings are still like the old bank is there. That's an old, brick bank, brick building. And the old Mystic Theater. But steakhouse is open. Of course, where we used to do the banquet was over in the fire hall / community building, and it was split. And we'd cram 100 and some people in there and just have a blast. And generally we did it May, June, because then the weather allowed us to spill out into the outside if we needed to with people and have, let them enjoy that too. So we just had a good time. And we always did a prime rib dinner there that the Pastime did. And she always made us a killer price on it. So it was a fun little community event, and there's not much going on in Marmarth except the rodeo later on in the summer. Otherwise, there's not a lot going on in Marmarth, North Dakota.
No, but boy, if you have a fun event and it gets the word out pretty quick, and especially with the Second Amendment and the NRA and all that the NRA has done since 1871, people will come out of the woodwork.
They do. It's a brand. People don't realize it. NRA is a brand. Okay.
Yep.
And it's a big brand. It's been around a long time, but it has, it's changed over the years. We saw ILA come about after the 1968 Gun Control Act, and they said, we probably better form something formally, and that's when ILA was born, 1971, I think it was. And they became the political wing, and let's just face it, people can say what they want about the NRA and have issues with the NRA. But they are the 10,000-pound gorilla on Capitol Hill that has the respect of even the people who are against them. They just
and I'll tell you another thing. All you have to do is look at international news, and if it wasn't for the NRA being formed in 1871 and doing what it's done in all those years, truthfully, we would not be doing what we're doing today and have the freedom that we have today. The second protects the First Amendment. So,
absolutely.
We have to remember that. And that's really what all of the core hunting and fishing and outdoor recreation that we all enjoy in this country. It's really an anomaly on an international scale. If you talk to people from Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and you have guns and they have, you have access to be able to own firearms and protect your family. That's something that is almost unheard of across the countries around the world. So
nobody has a Second Amendment like we do or protects it like we do. It just don't exist. Nothing is like it. We are unique in that. And
the last great place. We really are.
It is with all its troubles. I still wouldn't want to be anyplace else. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine living. I think, and where I live in particularly, in North Dakota in the middle of the res. I think it's probably the freest place in the United States because everybody leaves you alone pretty much because no one wants to step on anybody's toes here. So I don't know if I could live any place else even in the United States anymore, but there are some places down south I like. I could probably live with. But I just love the freedom I have right here. I mean, I can walk out my back door, Nate, and hop on my bench and start shooting my steel targets. And I got them set out to 700 yards, but I'm going to hopefully get my 1,000-yard one in this year. So I don't even know what I'd have to do if I had to just, I got to drive somewhere to go shoot. I just literally walk out here and do it.
Yeah.
But, so I guess I think we've covered everything with NRA versus NRA Foundation. I'm very optimistic. I think this will be a good reset. Every corporation, and let's just face it, NRA was like a big corporate structure. It just was. And not necessarily to its benefit towards the end. As with any corporate structure, it gets bloated with bureaucracy, right? And I felt that was happening even when I was there. All my volunteers, I can tell you, I used to complain about, I don't like the bureaucratic crap above my head, but luckily we were doing good enough. I didn't have to necessarily follow some of it. I can't even imagine what it's like now, but NRA is still the 10,000-pound gorilla out there. They just are. And without them, you would not have an AR today in this country if it wasn't for the NRA.
Yep, that's for sure.
And it's one of the number one selling firearms platforms in the United States. So just think about that. And if you look at what's happening in Virginia and Colorado and a lot of these other states, they're doubling down on passing these bills that are going to restrict the types of guns you can have by how they fire, with the attachments you can put on them, suppressors, threaded barrels, shrouds, all stupid things that have nothing to do with any of the shootings that have been going on or anything else. They're just another tool in the toolbox with a different form, but that doesn't matter to these people because it's about control, plain and simple.
Yeah, it really has a lot less to do with the gun than it does the control, Yep.
And I think when we saw China virus come forth, we really saw what the plan could be someday. I really don't think those that were in the one side of the camp really thought that there'd be the pushback that they saw. They underestimated us out here in the wide open spaces, saying, you know what, you guys can go pound it. We didn't do it, did we?
Nope. It was a great awakening. I think it really was a great reawakening of the central part of the country, and I love that the stance that South Dakota took, and North Dakota, Wyoming, and some of these other states. I mean, there were some issues. I really feel like South Dakota took the best stance, which was absolutely not happening. We're not going along with any of this crap. But at the end of the day, it really woke everybody up to what it means to be controlled by the federal government.
It did. I think that was the big takeaway. People that had been complacent for years are like, wait a second, how'd this happen? And we've been warning you, but glad to have you on board. Glad you're awake now. Now let's get to work.
Well, and I hate to say it too, but it really showed you how quickly your neighbors will turn on you, Yes, it did. It showed me of how many people, well, how do you put it? Put it this way. In my area, I know which ones are with me and I know which ones are going to fall. Is that a good way to put it? There you go.
Because those that thought they were entitled to everything you had just for the greater good, no, that ain't how that works. And that's how and we didn't have a lot of them around here, but I definitely figured out who's on whose side around here, even in this area. And luckily, our little bar and grill in Morristown said, nope, we're not doing it. They stayed open. They didn't do curbside anything. We didn't wear masks. We didn't do none of that. We could still, during that time, go in there and get a burger and fries just like nothing was going on.
Yep.
And that wasn't the case everywhere. Some of the cities, we saw how bad some of the cities are. Boy, the municipalities got crazy on some of the, especially places like Sioux Falls, Grand Forks, Fargo. Any of the big cities, of course, they're pretty left anyway. They just couldn't wait to jump on the opportunity.
Yeah, and the reality of the left is they're just chomping at the bit. Freedom really to the left only it only even exists for people that are on the left. They're more than willing to take away the freedoms of all of the people around them. And we've really I think we've really seen a great reset, the factory reset button with regard to that. People have just said no. We're not doing that. You walk into a airport and you'll see a few people with masks on, but now I kind of laugh because you hate to even put a mask off to paint something nowadays because it's such a
well, it's a big now it's a symbol. Yeah. To me, it just to be like if I'm cleaning out a grain bin, I'm wearing a mask just because I don't want to inhale all that into my lungs, and it's like and it seems like it was so long ago, but it really wasn't. I mean, 2020, and it went into 2021, and I saw it in Bismarck. I'd go up there. The dumbest thing I think I ever saw, the 6-foot thing, which I didn't adhere to, and the arrows on the floor telling me which way to walk, which I walked the opposite way just because I wasn't going to follow and comply.
I know. If you've ever had anything to do with agriculture, it's like you guys are a bunch of sheep.
They were.
You just send one right off the cliff, and the rest of them follow, and it's just insanity. But
it was
anyway.
It was.
I'm sure glad that it's behind us, and I think it's really good that we're in the place we're in this country. Nothing's perfect. There's even our own president and some folks made some kind of boo-boos with regard to Second Amendment statements recently. And, and I think, people jump on that bandwagon, but the reality of it is it's like the Second Amendment's for everybody. That's the beauty of it. Red and yellow, black and white, doesn't matter. The Second Amendment's there for you. The First Amendment, the same. And, you just have to, that's where the NRA going back is such an important tool and such an important organization, because it reminds you that, these freedoms exist for all of us. They don't exist just for because you voted Democrat or Republican.
Yep. For every United States citizen, you are entitled and protected by these rights. I don't believe that for illegals. They don't live.
Nope.
They're not citizens, but that's a whole other can of worms. But they do. They are enshrined. I mean, they are enshrined in our Constitution as amendments. We have our outline with the Constitution, and we have the amendments, which they basically say what the government can't do to you.
Yep.
And that's an unusual thing in most countries that doesn't exist. Well, it doesn't exist. We are the only country that has what we have, and we should be
unalienable rights. Yep.
Absolutely.
Unalienable right.
God. Yep. Given to us by God and only by God, and that's the difference. Government don't grant us anything. They just don't. If they can do that, then it's a privilege. It's not a right. Although they try. They try real hard sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
Tell you what, we're going to take one more quick break. Then we'll come back and probably wrap a little bit. I think I'm going to I might get your opinion on a South Dakota, a couple bills I've seen in South Dakota. Maybe do a little happy ending chronicle, but I like to keep these an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I think we're on track.
Sounds good.
I think we'll go and thank some sponsors, pay some bills, and we'll be right back here with Nate Brown, former, unfortunately, NRA Field Rep, but we're still going to have some fun. I know we will.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
LAUER Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at LAUER Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with LAUER, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area, but But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just 1 block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon. Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
All right, we are back. That's our short one. So one other quick thing. I'm going to throw this up here if you guys can see this. This is what they call the North Dakota Industrial Commission, where the North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund is at. So if you hit that, you go to the www.ndic.nd.gov, and then just from there, it's probably easier. Just search out the Outdoor Heritage Fund. The reason I want to point this out, I've been talking about a lot about it here the last couple of weeks because we had our meeting in December. The grant application deadline is coming up May 6th. So they open it up in the morning and it shuts down at 11:59 the same day. So get your application and everything is there you need. Kind of look over what does basically, it qualifies and what does not. One thing I will point out, and I'm going to send us off to Scott because I know that him and I were talking about it on his show last week. If you have a grazing project and you're trying to run pipelines, things like that, that is one of the projects that actually is qualified for this money. And there's $1 to $1.5 million dumping into that fund every single month, and then we meet twice a year to review grants. So I encourage you guys to get there. Probably one of the best kept secrets out there. Get out there and apply and see if you got a project that truly actually does apply to the outdoors as far as shooting, as far as conservation projects, wildlife habitat, things like that. I can tell you right now, personally, I hold the seat for the Farm Bureau on there. If you're putting in for a walking path through your town, I'm not going to support that. So you might get it through, but I don't think that's what the intent of that fund was. So just keep it in mind. Go out there and hit that ndic.nd.gov. Go to the Outdoor Heritage Fund and check it out because I think it's worth a look. So I had to put that plug in there, Nate.
No, that's good. That's good, and I'm happy to see that. Some of the oil and gas revenue is obviously used for those kinds of things. That's good.
It is. I'll put it to you this way. I only voted for 4 grants out of the 18 that were submitted that I thought were actually viable grants, in my opinion, and followed what we do at North Dakota Farm Bureau. Like I had my policy book sitting here when I was doing this as we were having the meeting and say, okay, here it is. Yep, it qualifies, but does it actually fall in line with what our members want? If it didn't, I didn't vote for it. And that's how that should be. So some of them I might have personally done, but it isn't my seat. And I'm probably unique in that. I don't get in there and I vote. Like I said, I was put on there, for Farm Bureau's representation. So I tried to represent that the best I could.
Yeah.
So, all right. The other thing I wanted to visit with you, did you hear about the bills in South Dakota that were basically going on about trying to make it even better for campus carry in South Dakota on these universities and colleges?
I just barely kind of got apprised of those, and was following even like the suppressor bill and some stuff like that. But I mean, to be clear, we're at a place in this country where mental health has to be looked at stronger. And, it's irrefutable, the evidence that a gun-free zone of any kind, anywhere, does nothing but propagate more issues. Yeah,
it
that's
creates
all
a very
it does.
soft target and creates victims. And yeah, I don't believe in gun-free zones anywhere, not even in schools. But here, these two bills, unfortunately, so they did do some things last session, which if you haven't, have the enhanced carry permit that you could carry on the campus as well. H. Bill 1133, this was introduced by Representative Dylan Jordan out of Clear Lake, South Dakota. He wanted to remove the enhanced concealed carry permit requirement, which I like that idea myself, for individuals carrying a concealed pistol. Remember, you can already carry without a permit in the state of South Dakota. We got
it's an open carry state.
Oh, it's open carry and concealed without permit. It's a constitutional carry state.
Yep.
I worked with Stace Nelson when he was still there on that legislation. I was still an NRA Field Rep. It didn't actually finally get passed, though, until Christy Nome came in, and I was already retired. But I got to see that legislation we worked on for several years become law, so I was pretty happy about that one. Well, right away, you have this guy, or no, this guy didn't introduce it. Or did he? Yeah, he did. So the guy that was against it, Representative Jim Halverson, a Republican from Winter, South Dakota, guys. I've been down there many times. You might want to check this out. He might have an R, but I don't think he's with us. He's a former highway patrol trooper, raised pointed concerns about potential risks of removing the permit requirement. And there was an exchange, quite a big one. He asked the executive director and CEO of the South Dakota Board of Regents. First of all, I am sick and tired of bureaucratic agencies talking to other bureaucratic agencies, giving us their. What about your what's your opinion of this? What do you think of this? Rather than asking the people themselves, I don't care what the bureaucratic agency thinks. Most of the people in there, and I saw that on that board. I just had that meeting with in December. It's a bunch of alphabet agencies talking to each other, reaffirming each other's stupid ideas, and then calling it fact, whether it is or not. And this was no different. And when they got done talking about live fire handgun training for the permits, finally they both come to the conclusion, imagine this, we probably shouldn't do this. I mean, that's basically what that was all. It was smoke screen. It was virtual signaling is what it was. And it eventually went down to a 9-6 vote in committee, unfortunately. So that one did not pass. The other one that they had in there was House Bill 1129. The committee voted that down 12-3. Representative Jordan, who basically brought this one to, I think he was a co-signer. It was introduced by Representative Kathy Rice out of Blackhawk. This would have authorized any school district employee over the age of 21 with the enhanced permit to carry or store their concealed pistol on school grounds. Now, you can already do this in South Dakota if it's approved and you tell them and all this. But this would have said, hey, if you have the enhanced permit, you can already carry on a campus and other places. Why not have these people do it the right way? They've went through all this training that everybody said you needed, and let them carry to school. Nope, that got voted down. And I like what Representative Jordan said. He goes, this was after he said, gee, I didn't know that I was in Minnesota's education committee. It kind of got the chairman pissed off. And he said, he point of order ruling and a reminder of maintaining from it. That, you know what, who cares? I thought it was a great comment and very much kind of set the tone as what we're seeing even in South Dakota politics. We're seeing it.
Yeah.
And when you
the thing that people have to remember, it's a hard, some of these are hard things to wrap your head around, but it goes back to the unalienable rights thing. The Second Amendment guarantees us the right to carry our firearms and protect ourselves anywhere. We don't need another permit, another, bureaucratic department of whatever to step in and tell us like, oh, well, you can carry, but only if you do this, or if you do this, this, and that. I think, I'm an advocate for training. I think training is a very, very good thing. And, in a school setting, it's probably more applicable to be properly trained and have it concealed because, there are issues a lot of people don't understand that, just because you have a gun and you carry a gun on a daily basis, whether you're carrying concealed or open carrying or constitutional carrying, there's a tremendous amount of responsibility that goes along with carrying a gun, and just having the kind of presence about you to make sure that nobody else can get a hold of it, those type of issues. So I'm all for training per se, but at the end of the day, what it really boils down to is we have the right to protect ourselves no matter what.
We do. And I think you and I are going to agree on this, that if you're going to carry, you should have a very good knowledge of the operation of your carry gun. It's even different than a hunting. Hunting, you should know. Anybody that actually is going to carry a gun for any reason should know how to operate it properly. Does that mean they will? No. And that's where when I see these things where they require this or require that, and I'm like, okay. And I've been in committee testifying. I go, so you want me to go through all these loopholes so that I can exercise what I already can lawfully do? I don't need your permission. But the guy that you're worried about that's going to come in and shoot it up, he don't follow any of it.
Yeah.
And
that's the point that people don't like to face. That exact thing is, there's no regulatory body that's going to tell a criminal what he can or cannot do. Right. And so why would you put that kind of regulatory requirement on somebody who's already doing the right thing? And
in South Dakota, you have to be fingerprinted and have a background check on you now to be a teacher. I don't know if anybody knows that. That went into effect several years ago. So you've already had supposedly a thorough background check. So why on earth wouldn't you let your teachers who are 21 years or older carry their firearm? And you shouldn't have to have permission. You let them do it as long as I think concealed carry is the best way to do it myself. I don't know if I'd want to require it, but I do think that's probably the best way, because I don't know about you, but I love the fact not knowing how many people are actually carrying concealed, because whether they're carrying openly or not, I trust them. There ain't much I could do about it anyway, because I carry concealed. And can you imagine the surprise, a crazy that comes in to say a church building of 100 people and 80 of them are carrying concealed? That's not going to last long, is it?
Nope.
And I think that's the deterrent for a lot of places. If they know concealed carry is welcome in a facility, in a building, in a crowd, I think that the crazies, even the crazy ones, are less apt to come in there, because they want to do the ultimate harm they can, and they can't accomplish that, even if they're going out. You know what I mean? If they know they're going down, they still want to inflict the most harm they can, and they can't do that if everybody there is armed.
Yeah, and it's been proven time and time again. I mean, you don't see those types of situations in places where firearms are regulated, or you see those situations in places where firearms are regulated. You don't see it nearly as often in a place. I mean, we can talk about this all night, but Chicago, all of the statistics the statistics on bad actors. If you take away the 5 top murder cities in the United States and you take them down out of the count, almost the crime statistics just plummet. There's almost no crime committed with firearms in places where firearms are legal and everybody's got them, because criminals aren't dumb. Not to say there aren't some dumb ones out there, but the really bad actors, they know a place where it's safe to pull out a gun and take people hostage or fire people up.
And why do you think they choose schools, say, over shooting ranges? Okay.
Yep.
Or, I mean, some shooting ranges are very, very active during a weekend, but they never do go there. I can't say it's never happened. I think there's been once that but nothing happened, of course, because they took the guy out. But they go to schools all the time because they think it's a place where they'll see absolutely no pushback. That's changing somewhat. Some schools have taken precautions. I mean, we saw Wyoming make some great laws last year. I have a great friend, and she drives school bus out of Mountain View, Wyoming, very small town in southwestern Wyoming. But she drives school bus. She's got a stop box on her bus.
She carries that gun in a stop box right there on her bus, wherever she goes, and then she carries concealed when she's off the bus. So she has to have that firearm on her person or next to her at all times. She can't have, and I think that's a good rule. Her school system kind of came away with some things like, you can carry concealed, you can do the things that you want to do as a teacher, as a bus driver, whatever, but you have to be in possession of that firearm. We're all creatures of habit. I'm going to throw another example out there. I think regulatory bodies don't need to regulate, but personal issues happen. And so I'm all for, businesses having autonomy with their own people. And, as long as they don't make a law or a rule that's not, within the realm of the Second Amendment, I think it's fine. Bill Cody Museum and the Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody recently had a scenario. I think they made the wrong choice on this, but they had a scenario where a guy was in the bathroom. He was a concealed carry or open carry guy, one or the other, and he literally took his gun off, probably to readjust his pants at a urinal, set the firearm up on the back of the urinal, and then walked out, left his gun there. And, people do stupid things all the time. Yeah. So what that did, one of the only venues, and you can imagine as a field rep, how epic would it be to have a Friends of NRA event at the Buffalo Bill Cody Museum? It's one of the largest firearms museums in the world. It's a beautiful place. They have a great banquet space. They won't let you carry a gun in there now,
Really?
In Cody, Wyoming, and it's like all it did was it just created a conundrum. And I'm still, even though I'm not an NRA rep now, I know folks that are high up in the museum and in the management, you need to have that, well, you can imagine what it would look like to tell a bunch of Friends of NRA banquet attendees you can't carry a gun. It's like, are you kidding me? This is Cody, Wyoming, people.
Like Eric, he says, I would say if I don't have my gun on me or very close, I feel naked. And he's right. I know Eric carries a lot. Kelly says, Jesus, intimidation is 9/10 of every fight. And, I've had this discussion before with people. In fact, we talked a little bit about it last Monday, too, on the show on KFYR. And I go, it depends on where I'm going, how I carry. So I would say 99.9% of the time, I've always got a concealed carry gun on me. It goes where I go. The other parts of the time, I might have another gun on me, and it depends on where I'm at and the message I want to send, whether I carry my 1911 or I carry a Glock or I carry a Springfield or I'm carrying my revolver. It just kind of depends on the message I'm sending. And that's what it is. It's a message. And if I'm carrying it openly, I want everybody there to know I'm ready.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He says, yeah, Eric, I carried my gun at that museum when I was there over New Year's. Every time I have visited that place, Nate, I have carried in there. And concealed, not open, but I have carried it. And I've never even thought about taking it off.
Well, and that's the thing is they can't even regulate concealed carry because how do they know? That's where what I mean by a regulatory body. Really, they're very limited with regard to what we do as a Second Amendment citizen of the United States. And but you can't walk in there open carry. It's like, what are you talking about? You're the Bill Cody Museum. You have the largest collection of Winchester firearms. I just think it's the most terribly ridiculous message. I'm embarrassed to even admit that it's going on in Wyoming. But
and I will say I liked their old exhibit better when it was downstairs. That just was cooler to me. I didn't care for the new modern looked one when I visited, but it's still good to see all them guns displayed. It is. But, well, Nate, we're coming up almost, look at that, 2 hours almost here. So is there anything you want to put out there to anybody? I know that I'll have a little ending statement, but I'll give you a first crack here at anything you want to leave everybody with.
I would just say that, I've been laid off, but I'm still in the fight. And I encourage everybody that's out there on the podcast or anybody listening in the future, streaming later, just stay in the fight for the rights that God gave us. The First Amendment, Second Amendment. We have to support the NRA. The NRA is going through some really, really tough times. But membership is where it's at. If you're not a member of the NRA, right now is the best time to become a member. Join up, sign up. If you're already a life member, buy one for your grandkids or your son or your daughter or whoever. But really take into consideration where you live, how you were raised, and what you can do to keep the message going for the next generation. We have to be able to protect that in this country. So keep your eyes on South Dakota. Clay and I and Doug, we're going to put something together. So
it sure looks like it's, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm committed to it. Yeah, I'm sure Doug is too. So we'll keep everybody informed. Who knows? We might be able to even gather. It might be something where we gather some of the old crew around from other banquets too that might want to get in on
Heck
this.
yeah, that'd be great.
Whether it's a friends event or not, I don't know, but we'll do something. We got to do something, don't we? Yeah, I think we do.
Yep.
All right. With that, remind everybody, hey, again, Friday, I won't be on Mitchell in the morning on KFYR. Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, he'll be coming on there and substituting for me. 7:15 a.m. in the mornings, Mountain Time, 8:15 Central. And then that evening, we catch Blackbeard Logic right here at Guns and 701 Network. And Leon's got, I'm sure, a great show. 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central. Sunday, Sportsman's Devotion. Vance Bishop gives a great devotional with. Then he puts a little. He meshes it all together with hunting and shooting. So you want to tune into that for 7 o'clock a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Central. A brand new show coming up. 701 Marksman. I know David and I have been talking back and forth. It's going to be really dedicated to competition shooting, probably some gun building, some information. You're going to want to tune in because he's going to have some great guests coming up on that. And we will announce that as soon as we have that date. He was going to try to do it this past weekend. It didn't work out, but maybe look for it this coming one. With that, Nathan, thank you. I appreciate you coming back on again, and we'll stay in touch. Everybody else, tune in here every single Wednesday except starting February 19th through the 26th. It'll be Thursday nights. So everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. It was a great show. Nathan, again, thanks for coming on with us. And we will see you on the next Guns and 701. Keep your powder dry, everybody, and God bless.